Okay, so the main thing between, or the main difference between interrupted and uninterrupted flow characteristics is the stopping and restarting of traffic. On interrupted flow facilities, traffic stops whenever it comes to an interruption. And the interruption, like we said, that it can be in the form of a signal or a stop sign or a yield sign, a roundabout or something like this. So whenever you come to an intersection, you either slow down or stop completely. Okay, and that slowing down and stopping is because of the interruption, not because of the traffic flow which you are facing. So maybe you are the first guy on that intersection, so there was nobody in front of you on your side, and you can see the road on the other side is also clear, but the signal is red for you, so you will not move. Okay, so you stopped your flow, and anybody who is following you will also stop because of the interruption, not because of traffic jam or not because of the characteristics of the road segment. Okay, so this is the main feature, the main difference between interrupted and uninterrupted flow facilities. Another important feature of interrupted flow facilities is the formation of groups of vehicles which pass through the intersections together. Okay, so vehicles, when they're passing through the intersections, they pass in the form of groups, and these groups are known as platoons. So what is a platoon? Platoon is a group of vehicle that passes through an intersection together. Okay, and this is more prominent, you will know, on signalized intersections. On signalized intersections, this is more prominent that you pass through in a group. Okay, so this platoon or this group follow the characteristics of uninterrupted flow facilities until they reach the next interruption. So the group of vehicles which pass through one intersection until they reach the next interruption or the next intersection, their behavior or their flow is same as flow in an uninterrupted flow facility. So the equations which we studied there can be applied to a platoon when it passes from one intersection and it has not reached the next intersection yet. Okay, so this is, if you are following a friend to go to a place which you don't know, and that friend says, okay, just follow me, and so when you reach the signal and you are praying, right, the signal should be either green for both of us or it should be red for both of us, otherwise you will lose him. Okay, so you are afraid of going out of his platoon, right? You don't want to be out of the platoon of your friend because he is taking you to your destination. So that's why they say keep good company, right? Keep good company. So this also is true for traffic as well. Okay, so because of this starting and stopping of the vehicles at interruptions, the equations become much more complex for calculating flow, density, and these things. You cannot apply the equations which we saw previous week. In the previous week, while you were calculating flow and density and these things, they were simple, linear or second degree equations. They were not so complicated. In other chapters later on, when we will look at the equations for signal design, you will get the real feel of complexity. Then the previous equations will look like child's play to you. Okay. Anyways, till we get there. Then there are three important terms which are related to any type of facilities, which is demand, volume, and capacity. Demand, volume, and capacity. So demand means the number of vehicles that desire to pass a point or segment of the highway in an hour, or expressed as an hourly rate. Now, what is a thing that is expressed as an hourly rate? What do we call that that thing which is expressed as an hourly rate? It is called as a rate of what? We have used it earlier. When I express the number of vehicles as an hourly rate, what do I call it? Rate of flow. Rate of flow. Good. Rate of flow. Okay. So either you are taking the demand as an hourly volume, so number of vehicles per hour, or number of vehicles per hour, or you take it for less than 1 hour and convert it to an hourly rate. So that will be the flow rate for demand. Okay, so you can have an hourly volume for demand or flow rate of demand, and it can be in terms of vehicles per hour or persons per hour. Why we are keeping persons per hour here? Because sometimes you may be calculating the demand for public transport systems like a bus or a train service. then in that case persons per hour is more important than vehicles per hour. Then we have traffic volume, which is the number of vehicles that actually pass a point or segment of the highway in an hour, or again express an hourly rate in vehicles per hour, persons per hour. Okay, so traffic volume is the actual number of vehicles which are passing through the road in 1 hour or in less than 1 hour and express an hourly rate. Okay, so traffic volume is the actual hourly volume of vehicles passing through the road or actual rate of flow of vehicles passing through the point or segment of the road. Then capacity is also known as maximum volume or rate of flow. Okay, maximum volume, maximum rate of flow that a particular facility or point can accommodate in terms of vehicles per hour or persons per hour. Okay, so you can see the highlighted words here. These highlighted words are the basic differences between these terms. Demand is people who desire to pass, want to pass. Volume is people who actually pass, and capacity is the people or vehicles that can pass, that can accommodate. Accommodate means pass. Okay, accommodate means allow it to pass. So in case if you have I think it should be very clear. Okay, but in case if you have a confusion, let me give you an example which you can more relate to. That is the example of your grades. Okay, so demand is what? Everybody demands to get an A. The desire is to get an A. That is a demand. Then volume will be how many actually get an A. How many actually get an A. That will be the volume. And that may be 0 as well. And for some courses it can be 0 as well. And then we have capacity. Capacity is how many can actually get an A if they work hard. How many can get an A if they work hard. Like if they fulfill all the parameters of the course, how many can get an A? That is the capacity. Okay, so demand can be equal to capacity if everybody is working hard. Demand can be equal to volume if if the instructor is very lenient, or the capacity can be impossible to reach if the instructor is very strict. Like some students complain that we got questions in the exam which nobody could solve. Then that means capacity is very high and the volume cannot reach to the capacity, right? So this is an example. Okay. Now whenever demand exceeds capacity, we have traffic jam condition. Okay, I will show you in the next slide with a numerical example as well. Whenever demand exceeds capacity, we have a traffic jam condition, and we have traffic jam means now you see a queue of vehicles, a stuff of vehicles which are waiting for their chance to move. Okay, so whenever this happens, or in order to avoid this, you can say it like this: in order to avoid this condition, we have these possible actions to be done. These possible actions can be done to avoid demand exceeding capacity, or whenever the demand exceeds capacity, the drivers have these actions which they can take. They can divert to other routes. So if you inform them in advance this highway is facing traffic jam or congestion, they may take another route. Okay, and this is claimed by the GPS navigators as well, right? The Google Maps and the other navigation devices which they're using, they also claim that we are giving you the best routes. But most of the times, it's the other way around. They give you the worst routes. Diverting travel to another time. If the trip is flexible, you can do that as well. Okay, so for example, on the weekend, I have the whole day to me, so I can decide which time to leave for shopping. Believe me, it's not me, it's my wife. She decides which time to leave for what. Okay, with the online teaching, I don't decide anything. I don't decide when to leave the house. Okay, only she decides. Anyways, so diverting to another time, and this is very common for drivers if the trip is flexible. It can be planned as well. The authorities can plan so drivers do not accumulate at the congestion time. And for example, the schools in the educational area, they used to have a window of like 1.5 hour between their opening times and closing times as well. So some schools were opening at 7, some at 7:30, and so on. Same thing can be done for an office building as well. So you tell the owners that you should, start and close your offices with some time difference, so that all drivers do not come to this street or this road at the same time. Okay, so you can plan it as well. Diverting travel to a different destination, again, you may do it if the trip is flexible. Okay, and you can plan it in the planning of your area as well. You can plan it as the planning of your area as well. For example, in my area there used to be only one ATM. The one which is very close is only one. There's only one. It was only one. Then they built another one at some other place. Okay, so now I don't have to go to that one ATM every time I have to withdraw cash. Okay, every time I have to make some transaction. Okay, same thing with the hospital as well. So you can plan an area where you have a hospital available in the same area, so the people don't have to go to the same hospital from different areas. Okay, so if I have a big hospital in my area, I may not travel to the other hospital which people from other areas using. Okay, so there will be less congestion towards that hospital. Okay, so you can include it in your planning. And the last thing, which has now become a better reality. Okay, but alhamdulillah, we are in comfort at our homes, which is staying home. Stay home. So in COVID situation now, you imagine how this has impacted the travel on the roads. Okay, but even before COVID, there were many things which were helping people not to make their trips. These things have just exaggerated during the COVID times, but even before COVID, online deliveries were still there. Online businesses were still operating. You had online classes for other courses, not for universities and schools, but there were many other courses which were offering online classes. Okay, so online teaching was there, online banking was there, food delivery and shopping. These things have just now faced a new boom. Okay, so this is staying home scenario. Okay, so driver may choose, why should I go there? Maybe I will spend maybe half a BT more if I make the transaction online, but let me do it. Okay. So the true demand of an area, the true demand of a road segment is the volume which you actually see on the field, plus all these drivers who have opted for the other choices. Okay, the volume which you actually see in the field, plus the choices, the alternate choices which are taken by or the drivers which have gone for the alternate choices. This completely will make the demand of the segment. Okay, if you add all of them up, then you will get the actual demand of the segment. Okay, so the volume which you see in the field may not be the actual demand of the segment, because the actual volume that can pass from the highway can be only equal to its capacity, So if the demand exceeds capacity, then the drivers who are beyond capacity may go for one of these options, and they may not be on the same segment where you are trying to measure the demand. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say I want to store some water. Okay, I have a bottle which has a capacity of 1 liter. Okay. Now let's say if the water which I want to store is only, the volume of water which I want to store is 500 ml. Okay, if you look at the bottle, you will see 500 ml, and you ask me how much water you wanted to store, I will say 500 ml. Okay, because this is below the capacity of the bottle. If I want to store 1 liter, the bottle is still sufficient. So somebody looks at the bottle and somebody asks me, I will give him the same answer, that I wanted to store 1 liter bottle, and from the bottle he will see 1 liter as well. Okay, but let's say I want to store 3 liters. I want to store 3 liters. Okay, so I'll put 1 liter in that bottle. The remaining 2 liters will go somewhere else, maybe in some other bottle, or maybe in the tank or somewhere else. Okay, somebody looks at the bottle, he will see the capacity of the bottle, that is 1 liter. If you ask me what was your demand, I will say 3 liters. So where are the other 2 liters? They are somewhere else. because they cannot get in the bottle. Same thing with the road segment as well. If the demand is up till capacity, then the volume is equal to the demand. Whatever demand you are seeing at the road, that was whatever volume we actually observe on the road, that is the actual demand. But when the demand goes above capacity, then the volume which you are actually seeing on the road is how much is the capacity of the road. Whatever demand is beyond the capacity or above the capacity of the road is somewhere else. Somewhere else, maybe on some other route, maybe they're traveling at some other time or something. Okay. So whenever the demand goes above capacity, you cannot be sure that the volume which you are looking at in the field is the actual demand. Okay, now let us look at the effect of demand and capacity on delay and queue. Okay, delay and queue. Let me give you a warning before I start. I am just solving one example, and this is what I will do. Okay, because there are, it's a number game. Okay, so you may have a demand which is 100 vehicles more than capacity, 20 vehicles less than capacity. I cannot solve each and everything. Okay, so try to concentrate on how I'm solving it. And if you have any questions, please ask me. Don't rely and depend. Okay, I don't understand this step, but I understand the other one, so I can solve this example. No. You may be able to solve this example even if you don't understand one or two steps, but there are thousands of other examples, thousands of other cases which you will not be able to solve. Okay, so pay attention and keep your questions ready. Okay, so I'll start from this graph. Okay, so in this graph, on the x-axis you see time, on the y-axis you see the flow of vehicles. The flow of vehicles, which is given in vehicles per minute. Vehicles per minute. Okay, in the graph you see two lines. One is the horizontal line, which is indicating the capacity of the road segment in terms of flow. So the capacity of the road segment in terms of flow is 75 vehicles per minute. 75 vehicles per minute. And obviously capacity doesn't change. 1 liter bottle will remain 1 liter. Okay. So you can see the capacity line is the same. Capacity doesn't change in terms of time, right? Capacity depends upon the design of the road. Whatever the design of the road, it is the same at 0 minute or at 2 hours or at 3 hours. Okay. Then you see the other line, which is the demand. And demand, number of people who desire to use a segment will change. Number of people who desire to use a road segment change in different times of the day. So the demand which you see at 12 midnight is not the same which you see at 8 a.m. And the demand which you see at 8 a.m. is not the same at 8 p.m. Okay, the demand changes. So you can see the line is going up and down. Okay. Again, this is a simple case, so I can explain all the steps. Okay. So in this case, you can see from 0 to this point, which is 30 minutes. From 0 to 30 minutes, the demand is 50 vehicles per minute. 50 vehicles per minute. Demand is below capacity, no problem. The volume which will pass from the road is equal to demand, which is 50 vehicles per minute. Again, going back to the example of 1 liter bottle, I want to store 500 ml. So 500 ml can be easily stored in that bottle, no problem. Okay. Now at 30 minutes, you see the increase in demand. The demand goes from 50 to 120. From 50, it goes to 120. Okay. And then it remains 120 till this time. This time is 90 minutes. Okay, 90 from 0. Okay, I'm measuring everything from 0. So 30 from 0, at time 30 from 0, the demand increased to 120 vehicles per minute, and then it remained 120 vehicles per minute till it reached 90. See here, it reached 90. Okay. So the capacity is 75 vehicles per minute. The demand goes to 120 vehicles per minute. Okay. So how much, at what rate the vehicles will actually move from this segment? At what rate the vehicles will actually move from this segment? Can somebody tell me? Again, take the example of the 1 liter water bottle. If I want to store if I want to store 3 liters and the capacity is 1 liter, so how much can I actually store? Yeah, go ahead.
1 liter.
1 liter. So same thing applied here. I want to pass 120 vehicles per minute from here, but the capacity is 75 vehicles per minute. So how many will actually pass?
75.
75. Okay, good, good. You know, I'm relieved that Huda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm relieved that you are, giving the answers.
Thank you.
Yeah. You should be, people should be thankful of the students who ask more questions, okay, because they are doing it on your behalf. Okay, and Huda is, he doesn't leave any questions unanswered, until I give the answer. This is something which I really appreciate, okay, in the students, okay. But if Huda doesn't have any questions, then nobody should have questions, right? Moving on, moving on. It's just a joke, okay? Anybody can ask questions. Okay, so what will happen to these remaining vehicles? They are coming at a rate of 120 vehicles per minute. They are leaving at a rate of 75 vehicles per minute. So there are few vehicles every minute which are not leaving. So they are going where? They are going in the queue. They are forming a queue. Queue means the line of vehicles, the suf of vehicles. Okay. So between 75 and 120, whoever doesn't leave is getting stuck in that queue. Getting stuck in that queue. Okay. So at 90 minutes, when the demand actually starts to reduce, how many vehicles will be in the queue? At time 90 minutes, how many vehicles will be in the queue? So like I said, they are coming at a rate of 120 vehicles per minute. For how many minutes? 90 to, sorry, from 30 to 90. From 30 to 90 means how many minutes?
60. No, 30. No, 60.
60 minutes. 60 minutes. Okay. 30 to 90 means 60 minutes. Okay. So in these 60 minutes, the vehicles are leaving at 75. So every minute, 120 minus 75 is how much? 120 minus 75 is how much?
45.
45. 45. So every minute 45 vehicles are getting in the queue. Every minute 45 vehicles are getting in the queue because they are coming, 120 are coming and only 75 are leaving. So the remaining are becoming part of the queue. So every minute 45 vehicles are becoming part of the queue. So how many vehicles will become part of the queue in 60 minutes then? 90 to 30 to 90 is 60 minutes, right? Queue started to happen at 30 minutes. It will keep on happening till 90 minutes because the demand is above capacity. So every minute 45 vehicles are joining the queue. How many vehicles will join the queue in 60 minutes?
2,700.
2,700, which you can see here as well. So at time 90 minutes, the number of vehicles in the queue will be 2,700. Okay, number of vehicles in the queue will be 2,700. Okay, so the queue will start to build. The queue will start to build at time 30 minutes when the demand goes above capacity, and it will keep on building. It will keep on increasing till time 90 minutes because the demand is still above capacity at time 90. At time 90, it will go from 120 to 65. So the queue will not extend further because now the demand is below capacity. 65 is below capacity. Capacity was 75. Okay. Now, if you want to, like I just told you how to calculate the number of vehicles in the queue orally, but if you want to calculate it using this graph, it is simple. Take the area between the demand and the capacity line. Take the area between the demand and the capacity line when the demand is over capacity. Okay, so you can see between this line and this line is a rectangle. It's a rectangle. So the height of the rectangle is 120 minus 75. This is 120, this is 75. So the height of the rectangle is 120 minus 75. And the base is 90 minus 30. This is 90. This is 30 minutes. Okay, so base into height will give you area of the rectangle and you will still get the same answer. Okay, so either you do it directly, vehicles are leaving at 75 vehicles per minute for 60 minutes, and they are coming at 120 vehicles per minute for 60 minutes, take the difference, you will get 2700 vehicles. Or you want to do it from the graph, do it from the graph. Okay, take the area between the demand and the capacity line till the time when the demand was over capacity. Okay, now Q, like I said, till time 90 minutes the Q will only extend. The Q cannot decrease, it cannot dissipate, it can vehicles in the Q cannot release because there is no space on the road. The demand is over capacity, so there is no extra space on the road for the Q to move. For the Q to start moving, or for the Q to start decreasing, we must have some extra space on the road, and this is happening from time 90 minutes onwards. At time 90 minutes, the demand reduces from 120 to 65. So now it is actually below capacity. Okay, so the Q cannot release until the time demand goes below capacity, because until the demand goes below capacity, there is no extra space on the road for the vehicles in the Q to move. Okay, when the demand is over capacity, the Q will keep on extending because more vehicles are getting stuck. When the demand is equal to capacity, vehicles who are coming are the same as the vehicles who are leaving. The number of vehicles coming and the number of vehicles leaving is the same. Okay, so again there is no chance for the Q to move. The Q will only move when the demand goes below capacity. So the vehicles in the Q will find some extra space and the Q will start to decrease. Okay, now how much extra space I have here? Demand is 65, capacity is 75. So now I have an extra space of 10 vehicles per minute. The demand is 65 vehicles per minute, capacity is 75 vehicles per minute. So I have an extra space of 10 vehicles per minute. Okay, so 10 vehicles per minute can leave from the segment now. And these 10 vehicles per minute will be leaving from where? From the Q. So every minute 10 vehicles will move from the Q. Okay, why 10 vehicles? Because this is the difference between the demand and capacity when the demand has gone below capacity. Okay, so I have a Q of 2700 vehicles. Every minute 10 vehicles are moving from this Q. So in how many minutes the Q will be completely released? 2700 divided by 10, which is 270 minutes. 2700 number of vehicles in the Q, 10 this number of vehicles leaving the Q per minute. So the whole Q will leave, or the whole Q will release in 270 minutes. 2700 upon 10. Okay, 270 minutes. 270 minutes from where? From which point? Not from 0. 270 minutes from the time when the Q started to leave, and that is the time at 90 minutes. So this is 270 plus 90. 270 plus 90. Okay, not 270 from 0. Okay, so the Q will completely release at time 270 plus 90, because before 90 minutes the Q did not start to release. So how much is that? What is the time from 0 when the Q will completely move? 90 plus 270, right? 90 plus 270. So how much is that? How much is 90 plus 270?
360.
360. Okay, so at time 360 from 0, you will see the end of Q. Okay, so there will be no Q at 360 minutes from 0. Okay, from 90 minutes to 70 minutes additional. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the number of vehicles in the Q, and this is how you can calculate what time the Q will be released. Okay, now let us look at the calculation for delay. For delay calculation, the number of minutes or the number of hours the vehicles are facing in delay, we will plot this curve, which is between vehicles arrival and vehicles departure. Vehicles arrival and vehicles departure. Okay, now in this curve, on the x-axis, you see time. On the y-axis, we see cumulative number of vehicles. Okay, time on the x-axis and cumulative number of vehicles on the y-axis. Okay, so it means that I should first of all calculate the cumulative vehicles arriving and departing. Cumulative vehicles arriving to the segment and cumulative number of vehicles which are departing from the segment. Okay, I must calculate these two quantities in order to plot these lines which you see on the curve. So let me go to notebook. Okay, Okay, so I will make a table here. Okay, time. Vehicles departing and vehicles. We start from 0. At 0 time, nothing came, nothing left. Okay. Then the next interval should be at 30. Why at 30? Because from 0 to 30 the demand is constant. From 0 to 30 the demand is constant. So your next interval will be, so the time interval will depend upon the demand. Whenever the demand changes, your time interval will end there. Whenever the demand changes, your time interval should end there. So from 0 to 30 there is no change. So the change is happening at 30. So I will make the next interval at 30. So 30 minutes. Okay. How many vehicles departed from the segment from 0 to 30? So between 0 to 30, the rate of departure of the vehicles was equal to the arrival of the vehicle, which was 50 per minute. 50 per minute. So 50 per minute departing or arriving, multiply by 30 minutes to get the total number. We want the total number of vehicles, right? So total number of vehicles which will depart in 30 minutes at a rate of 50 per minute will be how much? 50 into 30 is
1,500.
1,500. Okay, so from 0 to time 30, 1,500 vehicles departed, and this is the same which are arrived as well. As I said, 50 per minute is less than capacity, and there is no queue, so the number of vehicles which are arriving will depart as well. So arrival equal to departure, no problem. Okay. Now, from 30, when is the next time the demand is changing? From 30, the next time when the demand changes is from 30 till what time the demand is same?
90.
90. Yeah, 90. Okay. Now we remember we are calculating cumulative number of vehicles. Cumulative number of vehicles. So I will add the previous quantity, which is 1500. Okay, and then I will add the number of vehicles which departed during 30 and 90. Okay. Now let me take the figure from here. Okay. I don't know why it takes time. Anyways, so between time 30 and between time 90, at what rate the vehicles are departing? At what rate between time 30 and 90, at what rate the vehicles are moving from the segment? Okay, we have the figure as well. They are moving out of the segment. What rate? Between time 30 and time 90, at what rate they are moving out of the segment? We have two possibilities, right? 120 or 75. What? Tell me.
75.
75 because they are departing at 75, right? They are leaving at more than 75, they cannot leave. Okay, so 75 into 90 minus 30. How much? Total?
6,000.
6,000. Okay. Now tell me, if I apply the same equation to arriving, where should I make the change? Obviously, they cannot be equal now. The demand is over capacity.
The 75, change it to 120.
120 because they are coming at a rate of 120 vehicles per minute. Okay, now tell me the total.
8,700.
8,700. Okay, 8,700. And if I ask you how many vehicles are in the queue at 90 minutes? How many vehicles are in the queue at 90 minutes?
2,700.
2,700, which we can see from here as well. The difference of vehicles arriving and departing is the number of vehicles in the queue, like I said earlier. Okay, so you can do it from this table as well. Even this table is telling you how many vehicles are in the queue at different times. Okay, so if somebody asks you how many vehicles are in the queue at 60 minutes, for example, so you can make another interval in the same table and use the same calculation at 60 minutes. Okay, so it will give you you take the difference between arrival and departure, you will get the number of vehicles in the queue. Okay, so this is another approach of calculating number of vehicles in the queue, which is the difference of vehicles arrival and vehicles departure. Okay, so from 90 minutes onwards, we said then the vehicles will start to reduce from the queue, right? From 90 minutes onwards, the vehicles will start to reduce from the queue, and it will take 270 minutes extra, meaning at time 360, the queue will completely dissipate. The queue will completely release at time 270. At time 270. Sorry, at time 360. Sorry, at time 360. Okay, so 360 my next interval. Okay, and again, I know from 90 to 360, the demand is also not changing. Okay, so I don't need to make any other intermediate intervals here. If the demand was changing between 90 and 360, you can make other intervals as well. Okay, so again, we are calculating cumulative. So 6,000 plus what? Tell me what? I will write down the time here. So 360 minus 90. Multiply by what? What is the rate here?
65.
65. And here we are talking about vehicles departing. Vehicles departing the
75.
75. Yeah, 75. 65 is the number of vehicles arriving. Then 75 because we are adding 10 additional vehicles from the queue as well. 10 extra vehicles from the queue. Okay, how much?
$26,250.
250. Okay. What about this one? 8,700 plus 360 minus 90. Sorry, should be in brackets. Multiply by what? This is arriving. Vehicles arriving.
65.
65. Good. Okay. Tell me the total.
$26,250.
Yeah. Same as the departing, right? Same as the vehicles departing. Okay. And this will be the case wherever there is no queue. Whenever the queue is released completely or whenever the queue hasn't started, vehicles arriving and departing will be the same. Okay, so both columns, whenever they are giving you the same answer, that means no queue. So either the queue hasn't started yet, either the queue hasn't built yet, or that the queue has completely released. Okay, so you can see at 30 minutes, the queue did not start to build yet. So again, vehicles arriving and departing are same. And at 360 minutes, it is completely gone. So they become the same again. Okay, so whenever arriving and departing become the same, that means there is no queue. Okay, so you take these quantities, okay, and you plot them here in this. Okay, so time going up to 360 and vehicles arriving, departing, you know, going up to 26,250 and so on. Okay, now you see two lines, departing and arriving. You see the slope of this line. Okay, the maximum slope it can have is the capacity, right? The maximum flow or the maximum slope of arrival, the maximum slope of departure, is equal to the capacity. Okay, so either it will be equal to demand or equal to capacity. The slope of this line will be either equal to demand or equal to capacity. So you can see from 0 to 30 it is equal to demand, and from 360 onwards it is again equal to demand. Okay. Now what is happening between 90 and between 30 and 360. The slope of the arrival, sorry, the slope of the departure line, same as capacity, no change. The slope of departure line, you see it changes. It changes where? At 90 minutes. Because at 90 minutes the demand changed. At demand change. It is changing here as well, obviously. It is changing here as well. So it changed at 30 minutes. So you see the change in slope of the arrival line. Then it changed at 90 minutes. So you see another change in the slope of the arrival line. Okay. So wherever demand changes, the slope of the arrival line will change. Whenever demand changes, the slope of the arrival line will change. Okay. And I told you about the departure line. It can change, but the maximum it can go up to is equal to the flow of of capacity. Okay. Now to calculate delay, we will take the area between arrival and departure line. Area between arrival and departure line. Okay. And you can see it's not like a rectangle or square or something. So we will break it into triangles. The area between the arrival and departure line, we will break it into triangles. So in order to make it a right angle triangle, I will break it into number of triangles wherever the demand is changing. Okay, so the demand is changing at this point. So I will break it into two areas. So I'll calculate this area of this triangle, and then area of this triangle. Okay, area of triangle, half base into height. Area of triangle, half base into height. Okay, so at time 90 minutes, the difference between the arrival and the departure vehicles is 2,700. I showed you in the table. 6,000 departed, 8,700 arrived. So at time 90 minutes, the difference between the vehicles arrived and departure is 2,700. Okay, so this is the height of the triangle. The base of the triangle, the difference in time. So time, this one is 90, this one is 30. So 90 minus 30 will give you the base. So half 2,700 into 90 minus 30 will give you the area of this triangle. Okay. Then you come to this triangle. Obviously, you cannot take the difference of height here, right? Because there is no difference. Then you would say the area of triangle is 0. No. The difference in height will be taken where the lines are not meeting. Okay. It should be obvious. You have to use your judgment. Okay. Don't say, okay, the points were the same, so I took the area 0. Then this will be wrong. Okay. So area will be, the height will be taken where the lines are not meeting. So lines are not meeting again at this point. And at this point, I know the difference between them is 2,700. Okay. And the base will be, this is time 360, this is time 90. So the base will be 360 minus 90. So half 2,700 into 360 minus 90 will give you the area of this triangle, the other triangle. Okay. When you add the area of both triangles, you will get the delay of the vehicles, the total delay for the vehicles. So you can see they have done these calculation here. This is for the first triangle, this is for the second triangle, and the total delay faced by all drivers, total delay, is 445,500 vehicle minutes. Or if you want to calculate in hours, then divide by 60, you will get 7,425 vehicle hours. Okay. So we calculate in minutes because the unit on the x-axis is in minutes. So obviously the answer you will get will be in minutes by default. If your unit on the x-axis was hours, then the answer will be in hours directly. Okay. So 445,500 vehicle minutes or 7,425 vehicle hours. Why vehicle minutes or vehicle hours? We are saying these many minutes are delayed for the vehicles. Okay, or these many hours are delayed for the vehicles. So that's why we refer to the units as vehicle minutes or vehicle hours. Okay. Now, how many vehicles are actually facing this delay? How many vehicles are actually facing this delay? You may say 2,700 vehicles because these are the vehicles in the queue. No, these are the vehicles in the queue at time 90 minutes. Even if I come after time 90, will I not face the delay? Will I not face the queue? No, the queue is still there till time 360. So whoever came between time 30 to time 360 onto this segment, he will see a queue of vehicles in front of him and he will also face a delay. He or she will also face a delay. So whoever is coming from time 30 to time 360, when the queue started till the time when the queue ended, whoever is coming in this time window will face the delay because the queue is still there. So I will come and I will join the queue. The queue is moving, vehicles from the front are moving, but I have to join the queue in order to come to the front. Okay, so whoever comes from time 360 to time 30 will face the delay. So how many vehicles will face the delay? From time 30 to time 90, vehicles are coming at 120 vehicles per minute. So how many vehicles came from 30 to 90? This is 60 into 120. Okay, 60 because 90 minus 30 is 60. Okay, and then from 90 to 360, the time is 270 minutes, and vehicles are coming at 65 vehicles per minute. So the total number of vehicles which came during the queue time, during the delay time, is 24,750 vehicles. Okay, so 2,700 is the maximum number of vehicles in the queue. But the actual number of vehicles which will face a delay because of the queue will be all the vehicles which came during time 30 to time 360, which are 24,750 vehicles. Okay, 120 vehicles per minute from time 90 to 30, from time to 30 to 90, and 65 vehicles per minute during time 90 to 360. So that is 270 minutes. So this delay of 445,500 minutes is faced by 24,750 vehicles. So if you want to calculate delay per vehicle, then you divide total delay by total number of vehicles facing the queue, and so you get 18 minutes per vehicle. 18 minutes per vehicle. So on average, every driver is facing a delay of 18 minutes because of this congestion situation. On average, every driver is getting delayed by 18 minutes because of this congestion. Okay. Now, whenever the demand exceeds capacity, you have a breakdown condition. We call it a breakdown. Whenever the demand exceeds capacity, we call it a breakdown. Where this breakdown can happen, mainly on these situations. Where you have a highway, okay, and a ramp is coming onto the highway. So you will have maybe the number of people who are coming onto from the ramp are more than the capacity of the highway. So you may have a breakdown here. Merge points where the two highways are meeting into a segment. So you have one highway and you have another highway coming from here. Okay, so this is a merge segment. Two highways are merging into a segment. So the complete flow from both highways may be more than the capacity of the segment, or it can happen at intersections. Okay, because at intersections the flow is combining from different directions. So maybe the capacity of this segment is not enough for the combined flow coming from all these three directions. Okay, so this may not be enough. So then you can have a breakdown condition. Okay. Okay, any questions? Any questions?
What's breakdown mean?
And breakdown means congestion. Breakdown means when demand goes above capacity, what will happen? Congestion, queue. Okay, so there will be a queue of vehicles. Okay, so vehicles will start to form a queue. Okay, any other question?
Doctor, can you repeat how we can define the queue? Not by the area of the graph. The other way.
You take, you calculate how many vehicles arrived, how many vehicles departed. And the difference between them will be the queue.
Okay.
Okay, any other question? Okay, regarding the quiz date, the exam of the exam date, there's a suggestion to postpone it. I will take your vote. Okay, I will give you send you a form. You can vote for the date. Okay, and I want to take it in the time of the lecture. Okay, so I have two lectures. So either you can give it between 11 and 12 or between 12 and 1. So can all of you give between 11 to 12? It will be 1 hour. Can all of you give the exam between 11 and 12? We will talk about the date later on. All of you who are here, can all of you give the exam between 11 and 12?
We have a lecture, Doctor, at 11.
At 11, you have a lecture on all
Yeah.
the days, UMTH.
Yeah,
Okay.
even
okay.
Monday.
I will ask the other section. I will ask the other section if they can give it with you.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay. Because I don't want to go into that detail of, arranging a time and so on. So forth. Then the problem will be more complicated. So I want to make sure that
Doctor,
you give it in the lecture time. So I just have to decide the date. Yeah.
at 1 o'clock on Monday, I think it's okay. But I don't
Where,
know about
sorry?
the others.
This is what I'm saying. Then I have to, then the both sections, I have to ask both the sections. If you agree on one time that all of you can give in one time section in the time of the other section, then I'm already sure that the other section is already free. Okay, then, my problem is this. Okay, so I will ask the other section. Okay, and for the day, as I said, I will send you the form you can vote. So if all of you can give in the lecture time, then the result will be then then I can go for the whatever time the majority of you agree on. Okay, whatever day the majority of you agree on, I can go, because then you cannot say I had a clash with at the same time. Okay, until you have a clash at the same time, any exam date is possible. Any exam date is possible. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going for the attendance now. And I will be taking it from the mobile, okay? Okay, Hissa Ahmed. Hissa Ahmed. Yes, yes, okay. Ali Khalil.
Yes.
Okay, Qusay Ahmed.
Yes,
Yusuf Ahmed.
doctor.
Okay. Yusuf Ahmed.
Yes, Doctor.
Hawra Nasir.
Yes, doctor.
Ali Muhammad. Okay.
Yes,
Sadiq
doctor.
Abdul Hussain. Sadiq Abdul Hussain. Okay. Balki Samad.
Here, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Hala Munir. Hala Munir. Umar Walid. Umar Walid. Abdurrahman Muhammad. Abdurrahman Muhammad. Sara Ali. Okay. Saleh Mahdi. Okay. Ahmad Muhammad. Okay. Sara Khamis. Zainab Ali Ahmed. Okay. I'm going for section 1 now. Anybody from section 1? Okay. Fatma and Allah. Okay, Allah is here. Fatma is here. Anybody else from section 1? Sozan, okay. Sozan, done. Huda, okay. Hala from section 2, right? From section 2. Okay, so done. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow. Was there anybody else? Thank you.